Hello, hello everybody. Seems like we lost Elena for a second. Just adding back.
Hey,
Go.
hey,
Hello.
yeah, sorry, everything just freezed for me.
No worries. We're back. We're live. Hello everybody. Welcome to our chat about getting prepared for the United with Ukraine Game Jam that starts a week from today in Warsaw, Poland. My name is Tim Cullings. I'm the executive director of Global Game Jam, and I'm joined today by Elena Lobova and Marta Vitos. Hopefully I said those names correctly. If you wouldn't mind taking a minute to introduce yourselves to the audience, I'd appreciate that. We can start with Marta.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. And I'm Marta Vitos. I am senior game developer from Ukraine, which is working on international market. I guess it's all for now.
Okay, and my name is Elena. I'm a co-founder and CBDO at GDBay. It's a networking platform for games industry, and we also organize an international event called Global Game Speech. I've been in the gaming industry for 11 years, and I started my career in 2011 in my home city, Lugansk. In 2013, I moved to Kiev, and currently I'm in Bratislava, Slovakia. But I guess I'll tell you more about it later.
Yeah, what can you tell us about your experiences and work as game developers and your path to where you are now?
Who starts?
You can go on. I'll just continue after you.
Okay. So yeah, I started in 2011. I joined a startup in my home city, Lugansk, in the east of Ukraine. It was a game development outsourcing studio, quite small back then, but it was growing fast. I joined at the very early stage, so I became chief operational officer from the beginning, and it's a funny story because it's my first paid job, COO. But well, yeah, startup world. We grew up pretty quickly. We got international clients, and by 2014, we had around 200 people. 120 of them were in Lugansk. We were forced to move out of our home city when the war first started in that part of Ukraine. And but I continued working in this company for 2 more years as a COO and a year as a CEO. And after that, I was mainly involved in games industry events organizing, some business development consulting. In 2017, I started my own consulting business. Later on, it merged with GDBay, and so that's what I'm doing now. We built an online networking platform for the games industry and organizing events for developers, publishers, and investors where they can meet each other, sign deals, communicate, and we had just had one of those events recently. We also do game jams sometimes, but not that often. So kind of colleagues of Global Game Jam. And and my team, GDBay team, is also completely from Ukraine. Currently, I'm the only one who is outside of the country. Everybody else is still there.
Okay, then I think I can introduce myself and talk a little bit about my experience. So my journey started as game developer, I guess, when I was 16 years old. I started just doing my small games on C++, creating something on my own, and working for freelance. So some guys just purchase games for me. I will create it for them and just publish it. But somewhere in 19 or 18, I started working in Ukrainian company, which is based in Odessa, and we developed like small games for mobile, for example, some kind of runners or maybe hard casual games. I worked, I guess, on these mobile games for 1 year, and then I moved on to another companies where we have started working on some complex stuff, maybe on games for PC and SDKs. SDKs is just tools for developers. So for example, if you use Unity or something like this, you can sometimes see like additional plugins to that engines. So this is my current job experience. Yes, I'm a senior developer and also specialize on Unity development and also Unreal development. Also, I have a small team, not small, but somewhere around 10 people, and we really enjoy participating in some game jams. And I guess for 2 years we like took a part in a lot of game jams. Sometimes we even win in some of them, and we really love to develop games together. So it's like an additional studio to where I'm working right now.
Nice. Some varied backgrounds and paths to get to where you are now. Just wondering if you can tell us, like, how have you used games to tell stories about Ukraine and your culture and heritage there? I know, Marta, you have some experience with that from our game jam we did last year, so I'd be interested to hear more about that.
Regarding the culture aspect, for now, a lot of games in Ukraine, we have even mobile games. I checked like Play Market or, for example, Apple Store. We started to have a lot of games that connect to Ukrainian culture, or even like to some news. We have like a games where cats in national Ukrainian costumes, as I'm wearing right now, they're just running, splitting on some kind of level, and they just picking coins. But mostly, if you're talking about like really deep and profound stories, I seen some games, and we have some companies in Ukraine right now that are trying to push that idea of just presenting Ukrainian culture and helping us guys to understand like how diverse we are, and that we really have what to show and what to tell. I guess is just starting right now as a new trend in Ukrainian game dev. And for us as developers, we also took a part in some game jams, especially cultural heritage game jam, and we created our own game about the Ukrainian heritage, which called The Last Turn. It's about Ivana Kupala night, and I can tell you a little bit more if it will be interesting in when we can continue our speech.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, Elena, if you have experience using games to, tell stories about Ukraine.
Yeah, okay. So since we, the company, don't develop any games internally, the only way how we can help it is to help the other games of the Ukrainian developers that we consult, help with business development and marketing, and help spread the ideas. There are a lot of games currently built in Ukraine by developers. In war setting, let's say. I'm sure there will be even more of them. The company I was managing in 2011, 2016 actually built the first ever game that was included in the governmental app. We had this app called Dia, and this is like we use it for some documents, electronic documents, and so on. And they built a mini game for this app where it's called Ya Bayraktar, where you can kind of shoot tanks with Bayraktar. Well, it's not exactly the cultural heritage, but I guess that the war will influence our culture a lot, and we will have a lot of war related, we already have and we'll have even more war related movies, war related songs and games, of course, as a part of the global entertainment and art industry. So yes, it's one of the examples. I also really like the game from the Ukrainian developer from Kiev, who realized in the beginning of the war that even he, being Ukrainian, didn't know all the regions of Ukraine because it's a very big country and where they are on the map. So he built a web-based game where you have to allocate the regions of Ukraine in the right way, and this is how you learn the geography, regional centers, and so on. Just a couple of examples, but there are much, much more of them.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And interesting as well. And I know this is not your first time experiencing this, as you mentioned before. You experienced something similar in 2014, and you're in Lugansk and had to evacuate, and then you were there in Kiev on this day that the war started. And so I can't really imagine what that must have been like. And then I was just listening to your talk last night about running the game jam the second day after the war started and keeping that going, and I just can't imagine how stressful that must have been. I run a lot of game jams, and usually the most stressful thing that might happen is like the pizza might show up late or something. So I can't really imagine what it's like to be under the threat of bombs might hit people that are you or the people that are working on your jam. So just wondering if you could expand on those things a little bit and how that's impacted you.
Yeah, of course. Like, first of all, maybe a couple of words about 2014. Because as I mentioned before, there was a big game development outsourcing studio, Ilogos. It still exists, and but back then there were like the first years of the company existence. It was the biggest game development company in Lugansk, but I guess like the biggest out of 3 game development companies. So so we had 120 people around that working for the company. And in 2014, unlike 2022, everything started kind of slowly. So we had some time before the first the first people from the neighboring country appeared in our city, and between this moment and the moment when there was like real actual war actions, we had a couple of months, and during this couple of months we were trying to convince people in our company to relocate. It was surprisingly hard because nobody really believed that anything would happen. And we didn't believe that like the real full-scale war would start, but we thought it would make sense to move somewhere temporarily because there might be some interruptions to internet, like electricity and so on. So this was our main selling point to developers of the idea of moving somewhere. So luckily we had already had offices in the other cities, much smaller, but still there were office managers and HR managers who helped people find new places to live, who helped their families. We gave them like some loans and gave them like extra bonuses so they could like somehow settle there. But of course, nobody wanted to settle. Everybody thought it would be just for a couple of months and we'll be back home. Most of these people never got back, actually. Just like me, I came back a couple of times to visit relatives, but I never really got back there. So we had this experience already when nobody expected that something bad would happen, and it did happen. Maybe that's why in 2022, when the tension started like growing and growing, and most people in Ukraine didn't really believe that again like a big full-scale war will start. But like after 2014 experience, I knew it's better to be safe than sorry. By the way, our office in Lugansk was hit by a bomb a couple weeks after we relocated everyone. So it burned down completely. So there is no building anymore. So I knew it would be, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So we started planning some plans B and so on, but neither of them worked because our plan B was to move somewhere, someone, at least one person, it was supposed to be me, outside of Ukraine during the time of the game jam. Because again, we said there might be some tensions, might be loss of electricity or internet, but our team members were all around Ukraine, so we couldn't imagine that it would start everywhere at the same time. We thought it might start at some place and somebody might not be able to work, while the other people will just replace this person during the game jam days. And we all knew all processes, what each one of us did, so we were all like kind of replaceable by one another. But my trip to Bratislava actually was scheduled. My flight was scheduled on February 25 early morning. I was supposed to get here at 6 a.m. just in case, and I had a back ticket in a few days. So like just to be safe, but this didn't work because when in 2000 in on 24th of February, I woke up in the morning because of explosions. Probably I didn't realize it in the beginning that there were explosions. I just woke up and I kind of had a bad dream or something. I went to get some water, and then was when I heard explosions. And everybody, almost all of my team members, heard some explosions in their cities and soon sirens, except for the one person who was in the very west of Ukraine. So luckily, we at least had one person who wasn't somehow like who wasn't involved in this from the very beginning. So I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if we should have a game jam or not. And so I asked the team, I offered to postpone it for the better time. But everybody was ready. We already had like a couple hundred of developers ready to start working on their games. We already had speakers that blocked time in their schedules. We already had sponsors that we had and obligations for. And all my team members said like one, let's try to make it anyway. So I was mainly on the road because I left Kiev the next day. I was online from my phone time to time, checking everything. And the other guys, they were time to time in bomb shelters, time to time just at home, hoping that they will be safe. And luckily, they are all safe. So we organized the game jam. It went well. Some of Ukrainian teams that were supposed to participate did not, but since it's an international event, there were many other teams, and some people who did not come to the opening where we said that our team is completely from Ukraine, because not that many people know that. They didn't even know until the end of the game jam that all the organizers are Ukrainian. So luckily it went smoothly. And you said that you cannot even imagine how it is. And surprisingly, in the state of this like extreme danger, you somehow get very maybe it's adrenaline or something. Somehow you get very efficient. You just like keep yourself together and just do what needs to be done. And I think neither of us expected that we would be able to be so functional during these days.
Yeah, that's an incredible story, and I imagine it just kind of like helped you focus on something other than being afraid of what was happening, and focus on making a great event. And I'm sure people appreciated it, but that's an unreal story of resilience, and I'm really inspired by what you just said, and I hope people out there are as well. So yeah, that's incredible. Marta, you worked on a game you mentioned called The Last Fern for the Cultural Heritage Game Jam that Global Game Jam did with the United States State Department Cultural Antiquities Task Force, who are a part of the upcoming United with Ukraine Game Jam that we're preparing for today. And just like to hear your story about working on that game and what that meant to you and your team.
Yeah, last one, like it was a game. It's a 2D scroller about a Ukrainian story about a holiday which called Ivana Kupala. Ivana Kupala, it's about summer solstice when we have a sun at the apex of the sky. But mostly when we were developing this game, we wanted to understand we have really cool customs about this holiday, and every team member, they took a part at some point of life at this holiday, and they have seen customs, like how people go to that holiday, what they do, and we started to think like, yeah, probably we can show it, but then we started to ask ourselves like, but why do we have like this holiday? What's the story behind it? And we started like to investigate, to find some info. And when we found out like why this holiday happened at the first place, we were like really surprised, and we were really interested in this holiday. And when we developed the game, we wanted to show everyone why Ivana Kupala is a holiday in the first place. And the reason why is because our ancestors, they always said to us, like, this is a holiday about unity between people and nature, about magic and humankind. And we developed a story about a girl that wants to save her mother from really bad illness, which probably will kill her mother. And she tried to go to the forest on Ivana Kupala's night to find some medicine for her. And our ancestors believe that every like herb that you can find in the forest at the day, it will be like magical, and it will heal any wounds and any illness. But it always comes with a price, and the price is that when the magic blooms in our human world, also bad magic blooms in the human world, and we have like monsters. We have a really big Slavic mythology in that game, and we wanted to show it to everyone who can see it, who can play this game. So we added like all the type of monsters and creatures from our mythology that truly took part at that Ivana Kupala holiday. So like this game is not only like a story that we imagined, but we also took a part in research with our cultural center in Odessa, which provided all of info for us. So for us, it was also not only like we want to show our culture, but we wanted to show it correctly. So it will be interesting for everyone, and everyone would understand like why it's happening, like what the reasons, and they could see like true history of our ancestors, like what they really believed, not like any twisted maybe fantasy game. We just wanted to show like what our ancestors truly believed.
Yeah, that's a great story and a great use of games to tell that story. And I remember playing it, and it was like a beautifully, very artistic game. And I did learn about the culture and about the holiday that you mentioned. This was obviously before the war started there, and I'm just wondering like how things have changed in terms of how you work now and your work pipeline since the war started. I know you mentioned things are quite different now, so I'd like to wonder if you could expand a little on that.
If you're talking about like working pipeline, right now I'm based in Ukraine. I still live in Odessa, which is quite safe, to be honest, like in comparison with other cities. But for now, like when the war started, it was like for us when we have like Odessa bombed, it was 24th of February, of course. And I remember the day quite vividly. And when I woke up from the call of my best friend who was talking to me, like her first sentence was, "Marta, wake up, we are getting bombed." I just froze, and like the second that what I did, it was texting like my job and my coworkers, like, guys, I won't be here, like I don't know what will be next, I'll just probably quit or something like this. Like as Elena told us, you become some kind, like it's maybe adrenaline or something else, but I was just like truly official. I don't know what happened to me, but it didn't cross my mind that I was doing something wrong probably. And regarding working pipelines, when I returned to my work, everything changed because like we sometimes have like alarms in the city, and you truly don't know like what to do, what will happen next. And I was just coding some stuff, and I will just probably tell my guys in the team that, hey guys, I have like alarms, I will go to the bomb like for bomb shelter, or probably to the like any other safer place, and we will just continue our meeting from my phone or something like this. They always told me like they find it really strange that I'm still capable of working, even like we have alarms behind our windows. And I was like from my phone, yeah guys, like what's the task for this sprint? okay, I will do it. Okay. And to be honest, like our working plan also changed. Like we have half of the team in Ukraine, but another half is in Israel. And when we're talking about Ukrainian guys, we sometimes work at nights because we don't have like time for work in the day at the daytime, because like sometimes we have like really bad days when bombing just don't stop, and we like really afraid for us, for our safety. In other like probably manners, like how our job changed, probably is just organization and time management, because you truly don't know like what happened, like what will happen in any second, and you just need to, I have even backpack behind myself in this room, and if something truly bad will happen, I will just catch it. There will be my like laptop and other stuff. I will just run away because I truly don't know. And I have like all working information here, and I can be like sure that I can supply my family with food, with money for some quiet period of time, because I need to work to provide my family. And this is probably the main change in my work right now.
Okay. Yep. Can I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this, Marta. And as for us, as I said in the beginning, we were like quite kind of efficient because of probably adrenaline. But in a few days, it was like the downside of this curve. And we just didn't know what to do. After, like, we had a goal, we wanted to make the game jam happen. Everybody had also their personal goals. Like, I had the goal to get out of Ukraine. It took me several days and like night overs in different places. And then on March 1st, I was out of Ukraine. And on March 5th, after a few more countries, I reached out my destination in Slovakia. And we were just like we were very frustrated because we had another event scheduled in the beginning of April, and we didn't know like should we even do it in this situation, like, and all of us we had this mood swings all the time, and of course we worried about our close ones, and there was like an actual war in our country, so we had thoughts like maybe we just should like maybe we have to just give up all work and just volunteer non-stop, or like guys thought maybe we have to go and fight. We didn't know what to do, but then we decided that we would better do what we can do best, because our guys in our team, they don't know how to fight, and we like girls, we would be more efficient if, of course, like some people who stayed did some volunteering, but we also thought that we could just like do what we can do. We could earn money and send them to some humanitarian support and military support. So we focused on that, on fighting on economic front and on informational front, because we have many friends from abroad, many of our partners, clients, publishers, and investors who join the debate and Global Game Speech every time, every year, every day. We have like sponsors and other people, so we just like decided to continue working, but don't we didn't expect that much of each other, because we knew that we might not be as efficient anymore, and that's why we focused on only the main tasks, so only the main projects. And we were ready to give each other some time and space if somebody needed to do something more important than work. And also we just shared information about what's going on. I've been at several podcasts, interviews, and so on, and raising money for our military and humanitarian support. After our event in April, we sent.
Looks like we lost Elena. Hopefully she'll
Yeah.
rejoin us momentarily. We can pick up from there when she does. I'm wondering, Marta, if you can speak to how what impacts the war is having on cultural heritage there, in terms of artifacts and important sites, being impacted.
Yeah, well, to be honest, like we have really devastating situation in Ukraine right now in cultural side, because to be honest, right now war changes everything, and it destroys everything. And for now, we have somewhere near 400 destroyed like zones which had like cultural meaning for Ukraine, and it was and this number like official one, so it was recognized by our government, but the real situation is much worse because we don't found out like a lot of stuff yet or something like this. Oh, Elena.
She's half back. I don't see her video yet, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll work. Feel free to keep talking. No.
Okay. Yeah, and if you're talking about culture, it's like situation is truly devastated, but the more like worse effect is that we are seeing news from occupied territories that Russians started to burn down every book regarding Ukrainian history, Ukrainian language, and Ukrainian stories, literature. It just burned down, and it's intentional act of violence against Ukrainians, and unfortunately also kids in that occupied cities, they are forbidden to talk Ukrainian because Russians probably just will kill them. And this is like, unfortunately, this is repetitive history, because in Ukrainian history we have our language forbidden 45 times, if you count with this, which is happening in Ukraine right now. And it's intentional act of violence, and if we don't stop it, they're trying just to destroy our nation. We have like Elena Kostenko. Elena Kostenko is a poetess in Ukraine, and she once said that nations don't die because of heart attack. Firstly, you just need to take their language away, and after that, they will just start dying by themselves. And this is like, they understand this, and they're just continuing to do this. And truly, we don't know how like this situation will end and how the situation will continue. And I truly like want to say that our culture workers are truly like heroes, because they fight every day, and even today they try to protect every, like, even small small amount of heritage that we have right now. Today, UNESCO said that Ukrainian borscht, it's like our dish in Ukraine. It started to have like a really national natural heritage meaning. So they're trying to protect it. Like, we're trying to protect everything that we have, and we're going to all instances what we can just to protect everything that we have. But unfortunately, as we said, like on occupied territories, we can't do something like really meaningful, because we just can't do it occupied. And to send people here like cultural workers is really hard to protect it.
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. Elena said she's just having some PC issues with her laptop, but she'll be back on shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and someone mentioned there was a museum bombed in May in Kharkiv.
Yeah. Like, regarding this museum, like, the most interesting fact that the like building was completely destroyed. Like, everything was burned down because of the missile, but the statue of Skarada, it just stayed. Like, nothing happened to it. It just stays. And I seen in comments of like in some Russian publics, because I'm taking participation in cybersecurity like initiative from Ukrainian government to provide like truly true information to like masses. And I think that Russians really hate that fact that they couldn't destroy everything, and it just achens my heart to see that they truly like, when they see it, like, yeah, it destroyed everything. But
Yeah, that's a lot to think about. Just glad you're back and rejoined us, Elena. We've been talking about how the war has impacted cultural heritage, in terms of sites and artifacts, and mentioned a museum was bombed in Kharkiv in May, and Marta was speaking about some other like losing the language and taking away some national dishes and food as culture, just all different things. I'm wondering if you can add anything to that.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm not sure if any of you mentioned that there was this app. I don't remember how it's called. Is it the official name or it's just a slogan? Backup Ukraine, where you can just like use this app to make like a digital scans of some like artifacts and so on and things. So it could be later on like recovered and rebuilt in exactly the same way it looked before. And I heard that this app received some awards recently. So yeah, so this is like it's good that somebody is doing something to deal with that. And yeah, and as for like it definitely will have a lot of bad impact. But as I mentioned before, there will be also like this, like just a new layer of culture, the war culture, which is not good, of course, and it is not something that we wanted to have, but it's also like an inspiration to people now to like to share our story, to share our culture. And I think know many people who actually got inspired to know more about their own country when the war started.
Yeah, intense situations have a way of bringing people together like that, and you're right, it will create new stories and new culture, and people, you'll have to, hopefully rebuild after all of this and start anew, and maybe bring some things back that you mentioned with the app. Marta was talking about working under the threat of having to flee and move to a more secure location, and I experienced that when I was on a call with one of our organizers in Ukraine, Alexei, who's our regional organizer there, and like while we were chatting with him, like we could hear the sirens going off in the background, and like he took his family and ran into like a bomb shelter in there where they are, and just kept talking about organizing game jams in community, and it was like intense for me to be a part of it, but he seemed to be like so engaged with what he was talking about that he wasn't really even like focusing on what was happening around him, which like I get what you were saying about how that just sort of adrenaline kicks in. You have this like something else to focus on besides the threat to your life, I guess, at that moment. So yeah, it's a lot to think about. So I'm wondering, what are some of the stories about Ukraine that you'd like to tell, or see others tell during the United with Ukraine game jam that starts next Friday? Either of you can take that.
I think like from our part, like we have a really big team, and unfortunately, each of our guys they experience the war, and it's like they experience war like really differently, because some guys from another city, some guys like have their difficult stories to share, and probably what we will be trying to say and tell and show to the other world, like to all the world, that we have now like really devastating state in Ukraine, but all of us believes in the bright future, and everyone fights their own small war. And this is what truly makes our Ukrainian culture like really special for us, because our history has a lot of moments where everything looked like really dim, not bright, but after every hard fight, there was some bright light for which every Ukrainian was fighting. And this is what makes our culture really dear for us. And we really want to share with everyone that we love it and we will protect it. Like each of us will protect it. And we hope that maybe if we show it, maybe it will inspire someone else just to study, to understand Ukrainians and our history, and maybe they'll see something interesting and something like what can teach them in their life.
Yeah, I would like to also add that would be great to see some stories of Ukrainian history, Ukrainian past. We are a big country and we're an ancient country with a very ancient history. Russian propaganda now tries to convince people that Ukraine never existed before the USSR, but that's not true. Kiev is an ancient city, and all the different regions of Ukraine, they're very diverse, but they are all all the people who live there consider themselves Ukrainians. Maybe someone would also share stories about other Ukrainian traditions, like the game Marta built before. Some of the customs and so on. And especially, I would be interested to hear stories about the regions of Ukraine that are currently occupied, like the eastern part of Ukraine or Crimea, because it's also part of Ukraine, and I believe that it will come back in as a part of our country.
Yeah, just trying to establish some hope and some link to your past through games is a great thing to do, and I'm glad that we have this medium that people can connect with and interact with, and it's a universal language that people understand as video games, and being able to teach people about the culture and history that so many of us in the West don't know really anything about. And you're right, we only kind of hear the propaganda side of things of the post-USSR version of Ukraine, and don't know much about anything before that. So it's interesting to learn about it through games and through you all. And this event is a community event, and it's meant to bring people together. And you mentioned it to a little bit, Elena. I'm just wondering, how is your community organizing and going these days, and how are you keeping people together during this time, and also taking care of your own mental health, and you as well, Marta?
Yeah, okay. So as a team, I'll firstly talk about a small community. It's my team, and just as you shared these experiences with Alexei, and Marta has her own experience of sirens and going to the bomb shelter in the middle of the call. We also have it at almost every team call. Everybody either has a siren or have to go somewhere, or have a story about just going to the bomb shelter just recently. We realized that when the war started, all our calls were a little bit depressed. So we decided to introduce a new tradition when we start every call with good news. So we collect good news, sometimes even write them down to not forget. Before the next call, we had a call once a week. And we start with something good, because we want to support each other and to motivate each other to find the good things even in this terrible situation, because small good things happen all the time. Gestures of kindness, some good news, some our friends keep getting married, having children, and so on. So this is how we support each other. And also what also motivates the community now, that now game developers of Ukraine, as one of the industries that was not affected by war that much, is one of the industries that can help the country and can earn money and donate. And I know many people who just send most of their earnings to the military support and to their friends. who fight for Ukraine, or to humanitarian like relief funds or volunteering organizations. Some of my friends from the industry even established volunteering organizations themselves, and supporting each other, and kind of being some like it feels us even more connected than before. And we see the purpose. That's like I mean, again, in this very bad circumstances, it's like maybe a silver lining, I don't know. We're all now like we know that what is our goal. We are united, and each and every one of us tries to somehow do at least little something to contribute into our future victory. And yep, so that's what keeps us going.
If like I also want to add, as Elena said, that we all have a reason to keep going. That I will tell like more about Ukrainians and what happened in Odessa in first few days when the war like started on 24th. That I remember when on 25th of February I just have awoken and I was like, no, I just can't keep sitting. I want to do something. We have like to help our army. And what really makes me smile, like in even really hard days right now, that I remember that I went to go to donate my blood, and I went to hospital, and I was thinking that probably there will be some people, like not too many, but when I come to the location, I seen like a queue that was starting from one district and it was getting like two districts. And I was standing like, I was getting to some guys asking like, hey, are you want to donate blood? And there was, you want to? Okay, just go like 3 districts here and there will be the end of queue. And at that moment, I understand that like each of us have hope, and if we have together, if we have like this collective hope, we will win in any cost. And I know even right now, sometimes when I go just to blood station once few months, I still see like big queues. Like everyone want to help, and everyone really believes that if everyone make like any donation, even the smallest one, like it will improve the situation, and it really brings a smile to me even when I feel really, really bad. But regarding like the smaller teams, even like if we are talking about like working teams or probably game jam teams, I think that yes, as Elena said, that we started the tradition that we're starting the calls with good news. Like we're discussing what happened, maybe send some memes to each other. Like we wanted just to smile a little bit, and it will keep out like our day like really good. And we also have like inspiration when we seen a game jam like which will be going in to be in Warsaw in near weekends. Like we really felt inspiration, like maybe that we want to show our story, we want to show story of every Ukrainian that they feel right now. And it gave us some spark which make us smile, which make us like really hope that we can change a little bit situation, not in global plan. Yeah, we can't go like fight something, but we can just show the state of Ukraine right now. And probably someone will get interested, someone will get like maybe I can help some like somehow to Ukrainians, but how? And they will just see like some info that we will provide in game jam, because it's like our plans that we had right now. And we really hope that like hope and inspiration will keep us driving through all of this like it did before this all 3 months.
I also want to add one little something. I've heard this phrase because, like, of course, we all try to help and donate and volunteer, but sometimes we just don't have like strength for that. We're in like on a down of this curve, and I found a pretty cool quote that I keep telling my friends and colleagues. If you are taking care of yourself, you at least are taking care of at least one Ukrainian. So yeah, so don't be, even if you can't for some reason, if you for some time you can't help, concentrate on your own emotional state, on your own well-being, and it would be enough.
Yeah, I love that. That's super important too, to always take care of yourself first, so you can be there to help others. And just that's a really inspirational story to hear about. The lines at the blood donation centers and people doing what the little things they can to hopefully have a bigger impact collectively. Yeah, the event we're talking about is the United with Ukraine Game Jam that starts next Friday in Warsaw, and I know a lot of Ukrainians fled to Poland, and just wondering if you have any friends or family there, and if there's any like shared history that you have with Poland and Warsaw, and could maybe expand on that a little, and what them hosting this event means to you.
Regarding the Warsaw, I have like a few friends that fled, then ran away to Poland and to other countries right now. So like going to Warsaw in the next weekends, I guess. It will not only be for me just like a possibility to take a part in a game jam, but also will bring me a chance just to see my loved ones who I haven't seen like for several months, and I really looking up to it. And I know that half of our team also have like their friends fled up to the Poland, and they was like really excited, like, oh my God, Marta, we will finally see our guys like in Poland. I hope they can come to Game Jam just to see us. And it really brings me a smile to see them like really excited about this Game Jam.
Yeah, I also have friends who fled to Poland in general and Warsaw in particular. And we also have our partners from Games Industry Conference in Poland. So yeah, guys are helping Ukrainians a lot, and many of people I know will participate in the game jam. And also, I would like to use this opportunity to say thank you to Poland and to Polish people for everything you've done and everything you're doing for us and for our people. It's really incredible, and this is like the real brotherhood, the real friendship between our countries, and this is how we saw who is really our friends. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have such a neighbor. Thank you so much. You guys are just incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks to the Polish government for everything they've done and for helping to host this event. They can also join online. There's information on the website here, unitedwithukraine.games. You can sign up. You can join the Discord. You can find people to work with and start a team and make some games and help people maybe take their mind off things for a few days at least next week. And I know one last thing I wanted to talk about was that the Ukrainian game development scene has really kind of just exploded in the last like 5 to 10 years, and maybe that's a bad term to use, but it's grown a lot. And I'm just wondering like how what's happening now with the war is you think it'll impact that, and what do you think will be the outcome of things going forward?
Okay, I can answer that because I actually even have some data. Our friends, recruiting company Values Value and a game portal in Game Job, both Ukrainian companies, every year conduct a big salary survey among Ukrainian game developers. And this year they also had this survey, but they also added extra questions there about who stayed in Ukraine, who came back already, or who's going to come back. And there was this question, like to those who fled Ukraine, how many of you, who of you wants to come back, and who is going to stay abroad? And there was, I don't want to lie, but there was like a very huge number, 77% or so, of people who said they're definitely going to come back to Ukraine, even those who left the country. So I think that for some time probably we would struggle a bit, but with time, everybody will, not everybody, but most people will come back, and Ukraine will rebuild and will be probably even more appealing for international companies to open offices and to start businesses there. I really hope that we will be a part of European Union family soon, and it would also help us and our economy in general and games industry in particular.
Regarding the change like that will probably take after the war, I really hope with all my heart that, as Elena said, that probably we'll have more studios from international level to work with us. But for now, as you know, like almost all the guys that I was working and who I'm really close to, they said that the war, they didn't took their jobs, like as it was previously said, that game dev didn't like take a really big troll after the war started. Yes, of course, like organization moment, but I haven't seen like a lot of our guys lose their jobs. I seen some guys even like change their job places, and for now I really like all the studios that are in Ukraine right now. They're doing like small or middle-sized projects, something like hyper casual games. We have studios in Ukraine or some small apps for mobiles, but I really hope that we'll have more studios like the studios that is developing Stalker right now, like really big projects. And I hope that after the war we have like a really good time for developing our skills, our games, and I hope it will just get better. I not only hope, I know it will come. Like someday it will definitely be.
Yeah, it sounds hopeful that people will return and rebuild, and it'll be as good or better than ever. And now people are even more aware of the scene there and of how prevalent game development is, and in Ukraine. And hopefully, like you said, people will come back, and it'll be a strong and thriving community as it was before, and still continues to be, honestly. So yeah, we're getting close to the end of the hour here, and it's been a great discussion with both of you. I'm just wondering how we can follow either of you, or if you have any causes that you're working with that you would like people out there to be aware of and follow up with.
Yeah, I actually just sent a link to the chat that you could share in speech. There is an initiative by several games industry companies from Ukraine. One of these companies is our company. We like brought together several initiatives to help Ukrainian people in Ukraine and abroad. For example, help them find new jobs if they lost their previous jobs. For example, ones who were working for Russian companies, of course, they quit. Or help them find jobs abroad, or for people who relocated, some help with like housing and maybe legal advice on how they can legally stay in some country, and everything else. There are several forms in this by this link. If you're able to provide different kinds of help, and also a forum for Ukrainians who need help. So my colleagues from this initiative, they gather all this information and connect people with each other depending on who needs what and who can provide what. And yeah, and of course you can share, you can follow us, you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow the debate. Time to time I post some fundraisers. Recently I helped my friend from Mariupol. She was able to bring some humanitarian aid there, so we raised funds so she could buy some groceries and medicine for people in Mariupol, and bring it there. And yeah, time to time it appears on my page, so you can also find me on Facebook, and maybe you will be able to support one of the causes I'm sharing time to time.
about you, Marta? Any causes we should be aware of?
Yes, I truly want to thank everyone on this call, and I want to ask everybody who can hear this, please just take a look sometimes on Ukraine, how we are doing. And as Elena said, we have a lot of initiatives regarding how to help Ukraine and like what we are needing. And we are truly grateful for everyone. We see like all your support for like that you provide for us, and we really thankful. We have no words like even to describe it to you, and it really means like a lot for us. And I don't have like a lot of social medias, but you can always find me like by name on some like websites. And you also, I think that you provided some links to our games as we developed as a team for previous game jam, so you can always check it out. We will be posting more soon, I can promise you, after this game jam, and you can try it out.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to the games that come out of the jam and playing those and seeing what you all create. That's the United with Ukraine game jam that starts next a week from today, and you can find more information on unitedwithukraine.games. It's being hosted collaboratively with a bunch of different organizations from Poland and the Polish government and the United States State Department all came together to make this happen. And this has been a really moving and inspiring conversation, and I hope people out there feel the same way and are still, the war's been going on for over 100 days now, and it just, at first it seemed like it was going to be like this quick thing, like you said, and it's not going to, doesn't seem like it's going to be that way now, and we'll still need to hang in there and support you all through all of this. And yeah, just amazing how you started out making video games, and here you are, like, providing help to people in a time like this, and all the things you've learned along the way have really helped you be able to do that. And that's a powerful testament to what we're all capable of in these stressful times. So I thank you both for joining us today and sharing your stories, and wish you well and stay safe, please. And continue fighting the good fights, and hopefully we'll someday meet in the future in person at a games event. I look forward to that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.